The Tipperary Championship. So you were down at the double-header semi-finals this weekend in Thurles.
So the Stapleton double is on.
The Stapleton double, yeah. The OurGame double is not on, as Michael Verney's Burr lost the county final in Offaly, but we'll get back to that.
We'll get to that.
So the Tipperary semi-finals, just to give the score lines, and then we'll kind of delve into each of them separately. Kiladangan 3-12, Nina Aero 1-15, and Borris-Ileigh 16, Killarwan McDonough's 15. So it's going to be a Killarwan Borris-Ileigh final in 2 weeks' time. What stood out to you from this weekend of hurling and tip?
Well, I was really looking forward to going down to it because of the novelty of it. Because
your father's from tip.
Well, it was more just from the outside looking in that over the last few years it's been dominated by Thurles Sarsfields, you know, so there just seems a bit of novelty, and I think it's great when you get to cover these matches where, you know, that both sides, it's a massive opportunity for them.
All four.
And then in this case, it's all four semi-finalists. You know, Kiladangan have never won it, and the other three haven't won it in kind of between 24 and 34 years was kind of the drought. So it's massive for all the players. So you could see that there was a good bit of tension hanging over both games. First game was a good bit more free-flowing. Kiladangan and Nina, really good first half. Nina at times looked like electric in their forward play. Michael Heffernan was superb, and Paddy Murphy, and then Jake Morris was always a threat. He got a goal.
Were Morris and Mikey Heffernan inside, 2 men full forward line, or how did
they were at the start, and then Tommy Heffernan picked up a little bit of an injury, so he kind of moved in, and Michael was a bit outside, and then Paddy Murphy is kind of a target man, and like all four have played for Tip at various levels, so that's a lot of firepower. So like 1-11 to 1-7 at half time, and you're thinking, you know, it's 12 months since Nina took out Thurles, got to the final. They're in the driving seat to do it, and just I think really Kiladangan just started using the ball a lot better in the second half, and their defensive unit, like they're just a really brilliant collective team. Like, you know, there's no
stars, but lots of really, really good players.
But they still have like 6 guys who won All Ireland medals with Tip this year. So that's a massive amount of experience. But there's no, like you said, there's no star. Willie Connors is maybe the most recognisable name to people because he came on in games this year.
Alan Flynn,
he was scoring the frees, and he was also coming back and winning a lot of ball in the second half. Was really good and very impressive. Paul Flynn, full forward, Barry Hogan in goal, and then they just got a break. They got a second goal, which they worked really well, and then Sean Hayes came on, took a weak enough shot after a brilliant run, and it just slipped through the hand of goalkeeper Michael McNamara. So very unfortunate for him, especially because a few minutes later he made an absolutely incredible double save, but that will probably be kind of forgotten. And then it was a case in the last 5 minutes, Nina just pumping ball forward. Jake Morris got a point, he got another shot on goal but was blocked, and just that Kiladangan defence just kind of held out. So strange game afterwards. You're thinking Nina probably played better for 3/4 of that game, but it's all about kind of timing the run to the finish line and hanging in there, and Kiladangan did that.
4 points in the second half for Nina,
and only one in the last quarter.
That's torrid. And because it's very easy to kind of label a townie team this and that and the other, but after losing a couple of finals recently, always been really competitive, and they've so much talent. It doesn't do a whole lot to dispel any sort of myths and labels.
I think when you come close so many times as well, just the pressure heaps on, and then the fact that there was no, like Thurles weren't there, or Clonelty or Lockmore weren't there. There was no big side who'd won in the last couple of years in the semi-finals. Maybe it just kind of adds with that little bit more, you know. Now. And like Kiladangan are just an incredible story. Their second team got to the intermediate county final on Saturday, so they'll be playing effectively. I suppose Senior B is the best way to describe it to people hurling next year, but essentially they'll have 2 senior hurling teams in the county in 2020, which is amazing. I mean,
they were intermediate themselves in 05.
You probably know better growing up what way you would have regarded Kiladangan as a club. Like, I mean, they probably wouldn't have registered in the kind of, well, they weren't registered on the senior radar, so it's an amazing rise.
Yeah, it is. And like Dara Egan is on the second team, and you were saying he's definitely heavily involved with the first team.
So he was doing water on the sideline, you know. He's involved obviously with coaching the Tip seniors this year, and just the way he was kind of chatting to people. But like, they have a very, very high quality management team. Sean Tracy used to play for Galway, Brian Lawler, who used to manage Kildare, so they have a lot of fairly experienced people there themselves. But you could see afterwards how much it meant to them. And
it's a very interesting sideshow to the final now, that you've got a Portumna man, Sean Tracy, managing Kiladangan, and a Portumna man, Johnny Kelly, managing Borris-Ileigh.
And like we were kind of chatting to him a bit about that afterwards, and
Johnny.
And he's obviously been appointed the Offaly coach as well. So as he said, I'm looking forward to that position, but not thinking about that at the moment, you know. So like, big achievement from him, I suppose, kind of taking him back to second in 3 years, and he just seems to work the oracle, doesn't he? I mean, he's done it with Portumna in Galway, Kildare and Offaly. He's been involved with Galway under 21 side, so he just seems to have a knack of getting a side really well organised, and that's what I kind of took from the second semi-final. I just thought Borris-Ileigh really, really well organised. They have the standout players, I suppose. You know, Paddy Stapleton, Dan McCormick, Brendan Maher have all won All Ireland seniors, but when you're down to 14 men in the last quarter, it's kind of that grit is going to get you through.
Yeah. Did Drifter deserve to get sent off, Liam Ryan?
I think it was a second yellow. Yeah. You know, I thought we give so much flack to referees. I thought the refs in both games did very well. Like, you know, there was no major standout call. You know, I thought the games flowed as much as they could. Thought they were both good, and it was Conor Kenny really that stood out in the second game. I mean, 7 points from play. Like he caught 1 point. We were in the press box in the Canaan stand. He caught a puck out right on the sideline, just turned and lofted it over straight away. And you just know that that's a case of guy whose confidence is high, you know. And he got 4 in the last quarter, and he was flying it. And it wasn't a great game. It was very tense. You could
16-15 kind of tells you that.
Yeah, and it was 7-6 at half time, and it just smacked of one where like there was a lot at stake. Both sides maybe trying to cancel each other out, and the classic cliche semi-finals are for winning. It was maybe let's just get over the line. You know, this is a massive opportunity for us. You could see they both maybe had that kind of approach, and it was always seemed like it was going to take maybe one forward to cut loose, because both sides were kind of getting a lot of their scores from kind of frees or maybe scrappy breaks in the middle.
Well, even looking at that, like looking at the scores, so Conor Kenny with 7 off and play, like that's unbelievable. And I even see Hurler in the ditch tweeting. In the last 20 minutes when Borris were down to 14, he won 5 puckouts and scored 3 from play, a display from for the ages. So Kevin Maher got 1 from play, 4 frees. Brendan Maher got a couple of frees. Jerry Kelly a sideline. JD Devaney with a point. So really not a spread of scores from open play.
Yeah, and like Kenny was like they went nearly 20 minutes in the first half without scoring Borris-Ileigh, and it was
that happened against Drum in the first game. Didn't score in the first 10 minutes. Didn't score in I'd say the last 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and it was 2 Kenny points in play was all they got from play in the first half. Like it just looked at times that Kiladangan were going to cut loose. You know, they hit the post going for a goal in the first half. A couple of other balls kind of bobbing around, but just didn't really kind of catch fire. Jerome Cahill obviously a massive loss.
Yeah, I mean he did his hamstring against Clonolty.
The All Ireland under 20 hurler of the year. You know, a huge player for Tipperary. Imagine putting his kind of energy into the kind of that team in the midfield or half forward line. The difference it could have made.
And never mind, Niall O'Mara would have had an interesting week trying to get off from a suspension.
Yeah.
Kiladangan tweeted that they were confident of getting it off, which was an unusual step.
In fairness, he was very, very prominent. It just struck me the classic thing of where do you play your county player. So they played him centre back and then kind of pushed him up towards the end. I suppose he's better known as a half forward for Tipperary time. We're kind of looking from a national point of view. Yeah,
it's like putting him up in the corner forward. And I suppose they're thinking Borris-Ileigh are down to 14 men. If we get the ball in there, Borris-Ileigh won't have the extra cover back because they need to keep a certain amount of players upfield.
And they weren't really getting much from their full forward line, so I think they just felt they had to try and get something else.
Yeah, possibly lacking a couple of scores. Keane Darcy got 3 points from playing 4 frees, but at half time there was an interesting situation that you saw.
Yeah, so the second half was just about to start, and then there was kind of a pause, and then you realised that Kiladangan had only 14 players on the field, and next thing they started making a late substitution, as it were, on the sideline. And then Keane Darcy came back out, so we're not exactly sure what exactly happened. There's some talk maybe he was ill, because he then was being kind of tended to by the physio, seemed to be drinking a lot of water, and then put a bib on, then came back, and in the 37th minute he came back into the match, and he was flying around and he was very prominent and all that. So yeah, no, I don't think it had a massive effect on the game because it was only 6 or 7 minutes. Like, you know, I think like he was still very prominent towards the end, still getting points and all that, and Kiladangan still had enough chances to kind of draw level.
Like, interesting even though, like, if he's coming on at half time and then straight back off, there's a guy who's gone on for 3 minutes and then that's his kind of game done, and you've also wasted a substitution.
And that guy actually himself came back on then again later, Sean McAdams, you know. But the fact that they were taking off so many forwards is probably tells you a good bit of kind of what you need to know about kind of what affected them on the day.
But you'd never know what's going on in a dressing room. You know, there could be all sorts of things physically for players, psychologically. I remember before the Club All Ireland in 2018, the replay down in Portlaoise, I forgot my boots. Yeah. So like I had my like the multi-studs, the short ones, but the pitch was heavy, and I'd forgotten my long ones, which were out on the back window still drying from the previous game. And I was like mental sort of gymnastics going on, saying it'll be okay. Then I end up getting called to go in on the field, and you're like, oh, I hope I don't slip.
I hope you don't slip, yeah.
So you just never know what's going on.